Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Wanda Jones. I am a marine mammal biologist. I conducted my graduate research on manatee feeding preferences, and so I'd like to address some of the information that the public has been receiving. First of all, manatees being fed lettuce, it's not a surprise to me that they are not eating it as a group, because it is not a natural food for them. They don't encounter lettuce in the wild, therefore they don't recognize it as food. That's why they're not eating it. In my study, lettuce was the least preferred food, and it also was the least nutritious food. The top foods that the manatees preferred were Hydrilla and water hyacinth, southern naiad and vallisneria also. But Hydrilla has, and water hyacinth, according to a study done by Dr. Worthy, looking at digestive efficiencies, freshwater plants such as Hydrilla and water hyacinth actually have the fiber content that manatees need. They're herbivores, and they need the fiber. Seagrass and manatees have co-evolved for millions of years. And so seagrass has the fibrous content that manatees depend on. Freshwater plants such as Hydrilla and water hyacinth do also. Lettuce has nothing but water. I know Dr. Reinhardt mentioned that Hydrilla is mostly 98% water. Thing is that so is romaine lettuce, and romaine lettuce has no nutrients or fiber. Hydrilla is fibrous and provides manatee guts, their digestive system, with the fiber that they need in order to process everything properly and to remain healthy. Evidence, if you need it, is look at Crystal River manatees. They eat Hydrilla left and right. It's one of their favorite foods. St. John's River manatees eat water hyacinth all the time. And so the manatees themselves are telling us what they eat. Wild manatees, people say, well, they eat it in captivity. Yes, that's true. But that's because wild manatees, and this is something that the rehab experts told FWC, when they were consulting with them on this, when you bring wild manatees into a rehab facility, they don't start eating lettuce because, again, they don't recognize it as food. They are placed with other manatees that have already been there, that have already started eating lettuce, in order to show them that, yes, this is something that you can eat. That's how you get wild manatees to start eating lettuce. I am speculating, since I haven't been told, but I speculate that's what the FWC is trying to do over here. They're putting lettuce out in the hopes that some of the manatees, if you all know anything about your manatees here, a number of them were rehab manatees, and the way you can tell are they're the ones with the satellite tags on their tails. If you happen to see a manatee and you see this little thing bobbing along behind it, it's satellite tagged manatee. Those manatees, because they were rehabbed, ate lettuce in captivity. I speculate that the FWC is hoping that those few manatees, because there aren't that, those few manatees, there aren't that many, will eat the lettuce because they remember this is what I used to eat, and they're hoping that the rest of the manatees will do that also. The problem is, in captivity, you have maybe 2 manatees eating lettuce and 1 that just got brought in that needs to learn. Here, you're talking about maybe 10 manatees at the most that say, oh, this is something I can eat, but you've got 400 others that are like, oh, I don't recognize it, and just because there's 10 eating it doesn't mean these others will. So that is one of the huge problems with feeding them lettuce. In regards to feeding them Hydrilla and water.
Hold up, now we need to stop, because now you're going in regards to. Can you finish this up in
I was going to.
30 seconds?
Yes, I can finish it in 30 seconds.
Go 30 seconds.
Hydrilla does not turn to mush when you harvest it. I used to collect it for my study, and sometimes it would sit in the container that I brought it in for 2 days because I couldn't get there. So it will not turn to mush, and you have an area that is less than 15 minutes away from IRL. There's no way Hydrilla will turn to mush. If you harvest it from South Lake and bring it over to IRL, it'll still be very fresh. Water hyacinth stays fresh for several days. Particles will not grow in the IRL because the IRL is brackish. Hydrilla is freshwater. It can't grow here. And the manatees will eat it all. There won't be any particles left to grow. And even if there were, again, it's too brackish for it to grow. Macroinvertebrates, he didn't mention, but that's another thing they're concerned about. These little itty bitty animals that live within the water hyacinth, they're afraid that they will grow in the lagoon. They will not grow because, 1, they'll get eaten by the manatees when they eat the food. 2, it's brackish. Those animals are fresh water. They can't live in brackish water. 3, the IRL is so polluted, nothing can live in it. You don't even have crabs or shrimp living here, so nothing will live here. It's illegal to transport. DEP, which is the sister agency to FWC, can give FWC the permit to transport them here. I got a permit from DEP in order to do my transporting of the things. Okay.
Thank you. That was actually extra.